Welcome to day one. Today we're going to talk about probably one of the most important parts of our journey. We're going to talk about finding our story. Now, I'm not talking about your story of who you are and what you do. I'm talking about the story that doesn't serve you any longer. The story that you have in your head that's making it almost impossible to reach your goals. Every single one of us has a story. We have something that we tell ourselves, something we've been telling ourselves for so long that we truly believe it to be the truth, but it's no longer serving us. It's no longer helping us to get to our goals. It's not helping us on our path. Maybe it helped us for a little bit, but it's not helping us anymore. We have a lot of stories that we could go through. I have quite a few stories myself that I've outlined, and I actually was kind of floored that these stories have gone with me through my life, and they happened in a moment. They happened in an instant. They happened in a conversation, and they helped me to create a story that made it so that it was hard for me to move on with my goals. So what your story is something that happened to you, maybe as a child, maybe as a teenager, that you're bringing forward with you into your adult life. Something that you need to let go and release in order for you to hit the goals that you really want to hit. One of my stories is that food is fun. That's my story I've always told myself, because food was always based around fun. Fun meant food. I had to change my story because that wasn't suiting me any longer. I was unhappy, I was unhealthy because I thought food was fun. Now I realize food can be fun, but food is actually fuel. So I've had to change my story. I've worked in the last 3 years to change that story. I also have a story that I've always told myself that stems from, I believe it was elementary school, when I had to speak in public and speak in front of a class. I was so petrified that I developed a story that I'm no good at public speaking. I just don't know how to do it. I'm not good at it. I've never been good at it, and it makes me want to vomit. I'm still working on that story, and I still make myself do public speaking, and I still hate it. But I do it because I know it's a story and I can be good at it. Just because I have this belief in my head doesn't mean it's true. There are so many stories that we have made up in our lives because maybe someone was having a bad day and they told us we weren't good at something and we believed them. So I want you to go and deep dive into your story. What is something that you honestly think you can't do or you're not good at? And is that a story? Is this something that came when you were in second grade or in 8th grade that actually doesn't suit you anymore? Something that you need to let go because it's not truly who you are. If you're telling yourself something negative on a regular basis, I'm telling you right now, it's probably a story, not a true fact, but a story that you've made up in your head. So what we're going to do today is we're going to really deep dive and we're going to figure out what our most limiting story is. I want you to really think about it. Like, is it I can't lose weight because I've always been a yo-yo dieter? Hi. Is it I'm not smart enough because maybe one time in school you got a bad grade and you let that distract you from your purpose and from learning because you were so distracted by that grade? There's so many stories that we have in our heads floating around that we really need to work on. And what we're going to do tomorrow is, after we figure out our story, we're going to figure out how to combat that story and how to make a habit interrupt whenever that story comes up in our head. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. But for today, we really need to find our story. But I also want to read something from A Tribe Called Bliss by Lori Harder. She wrote a really great book that I really recommend if you have time to read. But right now, we're actually focusing on one book. But this will be a book you'll want to read later on. I'm going to read an excerpt from her book. Let me explain how the brain works. We think up to 70,000 thoughts per day, and 70 to 80% of them are negative. I want you to start seeing your brain for what it really is, a command center for your body and your life. It tells you how to act, how to react, and how to attract, or what to attract. Therefore, what you think is your reality. Has this sunk in yet? Take a minute to ponder what I'm saying. Your thoughts are commanding your life. Your life is exactly as you have created it in your mind. It can't get better until you believe that it will. Don't get mad at your brain or how beautifully you are made. After all, it's just trying to pull from your experiences in your environment to help you. except one experience is not enough data to build a set of beliefs that will work in a giant world full of people with completely different experiences. Let that sink in. What is happening in your brain is your reality. So if you are living in a negative mindset and around negativity, that's what you're attracting. That's what you're looking for. So what we're going to work on is we're going to work on the positive. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to read another paragraph. What stories have created your life? What stories are destroying your life? What are the stories robbing you of your future or that are pulling you back into the past? This is going to help you unlock any last shackles from your old stories. In order to completely free yourself, you must take ownership of the fact that your story is also serving you. I know that seems crazy, but this is the secret sauce to being able to rewrite a legendary story. Holding on to our stories allows us to stay in our comfort zone because we believe that we can't, which means we don't have to do that thing that could get us rejected, publicly humiliated, or that we may have to do some really tough stuff like leave relationships or hurt someone's feelings. In order to figure out the most pressing story to begin with, you must determine the one story that stops you from taking the first step toward feeling better or that first step toward your goal. What is the story on repeat that keeps you from a life that you love? And that's what we're doing today. We're going to find that story and we're going to dissect it. We're going to figure out why we have this story and how we can take that story and rewrite it. Because all your brain is a series of programs and commands. And we're going to rewrite that story. You have the ability to do that. I know we don't realize that, but we do. We have the ability to rewrite our story. I speak from experience. I have rewritten a lot of stories in my life in the last 2 years. And I know that we can do this together. And welcome to day 1. Have a good day.